Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight I have your very first look at Bumblebee, aka the Fletcher. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We've got Arleigh Burke as the commander. You guys know my build by now, I'm sure. So, if you don't, here it is. And of course I'm running Eric Bay, Jersey Swirsky, because you know me, I like my concealment. Alright, if we look at commanders, you go over here to Bumblebee, select him, and you'll see that his base trait is overboost, which allows a longer engine boost duration, which is a thing. We've got Observant Rage, Contact Imminent, we have Mortar, we have Look at Me Now, we have Back in Stock, Twist and Track, 1,000 Cuts. We have Calculated Inversion, which I believe is the fancy trait for this. Rudder Shift Time. Let's see. Yep. Rudder Shift Time while Smoke Screen is working. It's a very specific a specific perk. Engine power while Smoke Screen is working is 40%. So I guess if you're sitting in your smoke screen and you detect torpedoes coming late, I guess you can almost try to avoid, but you lose smoke screen. The dispersion time goes by 30%, which is not a good trait. Like, part of the good things about this ship is that it gets a long duration smoke. You can sit in it and use it as a gunboat for a long time, provided somebody else is spotting. It's got Unstoppable and Leviathan as its two perks. Unstoppable is the one that I personally enjoy because this ship loses its engine more than anything else. Not to mention, this ship loses its torpedoes more than anything else. I really, really wish that I didn't lose torpedoes on this thing as much as I do. But I'm going to go ahead and put Arleigh Burke back on it. Now, if we look at the camo, it's bright, it's colorful. I don't hate it, but I mean, it's an acquired taste. The orange could go away, to be honest. You could take the orange completely off of it, leave it with a nice black, but I get it. It's a thing. Also, never noticed that the rear AA back here in the back looks like a heart. Never noticed that before. But I do, again, not hate this camo, but I don't particularly like it. So, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Hello everybody, and I just redid the, yep, I'm a dummy. Anyway, so we're on Land of Fire. We're in the Fletcher, and we're going to have one of those games that's not your typical destroyer gameplay. I'm going to try to do some things, and some of them will work, and some of them won't work. But anytime I'm in the Fletcher, it's going to be exciting because the Fletcher isn't your normal destroyer. Yes, it does have torpedoes. Yes, they are medium range. Yes, they are potentially good. But the problem is, you don't get to use them that often. And when you do get to use them, most of the time you miss because you're launching them for maximum range and any change in 10 minutes for your target and you miss. Not a big fan of the Fletcher. I like it as a gunboat, but as a destroyer itself, it's hit or miss. I'm not usually very good in it. I get a lot of average games, some below average, but I'm usually pretty utilitarian in this ship. I can do a little bit of everything. Whatever the team needs in the moment, I generally end up being that for the team. So right off the bat, for once, it's not a domination. It seems like every freaking match I'm in is a domination. I'm getting sick of it. I really, really hope Wargaming is listening. Can you please tone down the amount of dominations that we have in this freaking game? Please. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, we're going to push forward initially. I want to try to spot. This Wichita is crazy, but I'm going to do my best to keep him alive. Now, he's going to take a central position on the map, which is very strong for a radar cruiser. We're going to see the Iowa here, and knowing the very big weakness of my teammate in the Wichita versus an Iowa, I'm going to drop smoke for him. Yes, this is initially for him. Now, I'm not going to lie. If there is a chance to sit in a smoke screen and just tee off on battleships, I will take it. I am not one of those guys to pass up an opportunity. But the main reason for this smoke screen was for my teammate. Now, as you can see, I'm in the smoke. They can't see him, or you can't see them, right? So I pull out to make sure that these guys can shoot, and they fire their guns, which makes it nice and pretty for all of us. Now, as you can see, I launched all my torpedoes, assuming that the Odin was going to come in at us. He decided to back off, which every time I launch torpedoes at anything in this thing, it's guaranteed that they're going to just do that to me. I have the worst luck on the planet. Anybody who's watched the channel for a long time should know this by now. But we're going to get some decent RNG here for fires in this one. And I'm going to freak out right here and use one of my freaking engine boosts. Because I thought I was going to have to outrun these, and then I realized that they died. So I just wasted an engine boost. Which could have came in handy later in the match. But, as you can see, we launched torpedoes at the Iowa. Or no, we didn't. No, we didn't. Our torpedoes aren't back yet. Somebody else launched torpedoes at the Iowa. I'm assuming Odin. But we're trying to give our guys the best chance they can to do damage. As long as these battleships keep firing their guns, we're going to be able to see them. Also, I'm assuming the Odin is detecting them right now, which is nice. So we can just sit here and tee off on them, and you can see between me and the Wichita, this Iowa's having a bad day. We're not getting many fires at the moment because he just burned his damage con. But if we can get some fires, they're going to burn. So that's what we're trying to do. Now we're getting inside that 30 seconds mark on the smoke screen, and Iowa's starting to charge forward. So I'm going to drop some torps out in front of him in hopes that he does run right into these. He doesn't have a whole lot of health left. 1-2 torpedoes be plenty to actually finish him off. Now, because we did get a fire on him, it's going to burn for a while. We're going to try to get around the corner, and then we're going to fall back to try to help our Sinop. Now, we do fire the guns one more time here before we get behind the island, and that's when I realized that these guys are here. Now, because I fired my guns, they're inside my spotting range. I'm going to stay spotted for a few seconds, which is not preferable. Now, there is a Baltimore coming up straight ahead of me. That's definitely not good for me. The Hipper's too far out to worry about, and the Scharnhorst isn't actually a very good position for me to attack. We just used our torpedoes, unfortunately. The Iowa is gone, which is good. So we're not going to have torpedoes for a little while on this Scharnhorst. So what we are going to do is try to set a fire and then use armor piercing. He's completely broadside to us. Armor piercing is very, very good. So we're going to go ahead and try to set a fire and wait for it. First shot fired. That doesn't happen very often, this thing. Or at least not for me, anyway. We're going to get some good hits trying to set that second fire on him. And you can see we're getting several nice hits with the HE, and we're getting good damage. He gets a shot off right here, and one shell hits me and knocks out my torpedo tubes. Because that's how that works. Every time this ship gets shot, the torpedo tubes get knocked out. Every time. It is the most irritating thing in the world. And if it's not the torpedo tube getting knocked out, it's the engine. God darn it! You can't make this up. And now we're radared by the Baltimore, which luckily we are heading away from them. It's only 9-kilometer radar, so once we get beyond 9 kilometers, we're fine. And luckily we have the skill that if our engine gets knocked out, we can continue to go, even if it is at reduced power. The Sinop is... I don't know what he's doing. I try to come back and help the man, and he is just sitting here begging to get torpedoed. I give up. Now, as you can see, I checked my torps in because they were knocked out. They got reset, and I still do not have torps, which is the story of my life in this ship. I just can never get torpedoes in the ship. So I set a smoke screen, and I start trying to burn this guy down, and he immediately fires all of his guns at me, which tells you everything you need to know about what he's going to do to that Sinop. But we're going to do everything we can to burn him. We've got another fire on him at the moment, and even though we are currently on fire and we've got our propulsion knocked out for another 35 seconds. We're getting ready to get our DC back. And so we'll get our propulsion fixed. Probably not the best call at this moment to burn my DC for the engine. I could hold on to it and then have it in my back pocket because you never know what's going to happen. We know that there's a Baltimore chasing us. So apparently this Scharnhorst has had enough of me trying to kill him and turns away to not launch all of his torpedoes at the Synop. And the Synop, being the Synop, is just going to sit there and take them. You can't make it up, man. I try everything in my power to save that man's life. Now, good news is we didn't use our damage control, so we do still have it. The Scharnhorst is burning, but we need to try to get another fire on him. So as you can see, we're firing our guns, trying to get that second fire, and we are very well aware that there's a Baltimore chasing us. We are very well aware that the Hipper is getting closer. We need to get rid of this Scharnhorst as quickly as possible if we're going to have any chance of winning this match. Now, we're winning on points, and my team is actually not useless. They have won their side, and I'm hoping that they will be on their way back to me. And there we finally destroyed the torpedo tubes from the Scharnhorst, so you gotta love that. Better late than never, I guess. And he is burning, so we're just gonna let him burn out. Now, Hipper and Baltimore are both heading into our base. I need to get out of here. You can see I'm trying to dodge all I can. I cannot win a fight 1v1 versus a Hipper and a Baltimore. Either of them. It's just not in my best interest to get into this fight right now. Now, unfortunately, they knocked out my propulsion again. They set me on fire again. But I will not be denied. I am going to dodge and weave and hope to God that they eventually lose interest. My team is starting to turn around and starting to head back this direction now that they have finally decided that there is something worth fighting for, aka our base. Now, you may have noticed I only fired one set of torpedoes. That's because my other set of torpedoes is completely destroyed. That's right. I said it before, I'll say it again, and look who's got his radar back. Isn't that good? Dagnabbit. I just can't win for losing. All right. Back into dodge mode. Now that we're radared, we might as well be firing the guns. We're going to do everything in our power to avoid every shell that we can. You can see, easy to dodge those ones. Anytime you're in this situation, you have to be actively dodging. And you have to pay attention when the enemy starts leading shots where you need to turn to avoid them. That's the whole gist of dodging rounds. I'm not particularly amazing at it, but I do a pretty decent job of it. You're baiting them into firing one direction, and then you're cutting back the other direction. That's the goal. And here, I actually get caught a little bit, and ooh, we get lucky. He hits our turret instead of it and doesn't really do any damage. And this time, we're able to just stay outside of it. And right here, I have all the time in the world. I do not have to fire another shot. But we all know me pretty well. I could just sit here and let my team take out this Baltimore. He is in our cap, and he is causing us to not gain any points currently. The Hipper comes out and is in full suicide mode, where he is just going to sail straight at my team and try to torp them. Hipper has a lot of torpedoes. I throw the torpedoes out there just to try to protect my team and hope that I can intercept this Hipper in his ramming speed, as he approaches. I'm trying to intercept him with those torpedoes, but problem is we don't have the upgraded torpedoes from PC, and so the torpedoes that we do have are garbage. These torpedoes were never meant to be the top torpedoes that you use on a ship. On PC, you get an upgraded torpedoes that have longer range and faster torpedoes. We don't get them on console, unfortunately. Now, you'll notice I started opening fire on this guy again. We're not getting any resets on him because why would we? I mean, everybody manages to touch him just before me and get the resets. So we're not actually getting base resets. We're just getting shot at. And here we're trying to dodge, but unfortunately just not able to quite get turned in quick enough. And he finishes us off. But it is what it is. We end up with over 260 hits on the enemies. We had a lot of DACA going on in this match. But our team has managed to at least get back into a position where we shouldn't lose this match. They're going to be able to double team the Baltimore. Hipper's already gone. You can see this Wichita. He is already flooding. But we did everything we could to try to keep this team in it. That's for sure. Buying the team enough time to get back and help defend the base was a huge play. Keeping the guys spotted while they were approaching, also huge. I could have easily survived this match, but where's the fun in that? I'd rather go down shooting, you know what I mean? I don't like hiding. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. This was a fun match. It was a nice, exciting match. Different for a destroyer, you know? That's kind of why I like the Fletcher, but at the same time, I dislike the Fletcher. This was a great match to showcase both. The fact that I love the Fletcher because of its just ridiculous firepower capability, but I hate the Fletcher for the fact that it is so darn fragile with everything. You get your engine knocked out every time somebody looks at you. You get your torpedo tubes knocked out every time somebody hits you. Like, it's ridiculous. But it is fun occasionally. So what do I think about the whole Transformers thing? I think you guys are already pretty straightforward and aware of what I think. So, honestly, again, I'll say it. The camos aren't the worst. The Bumblebee is right there on the edge. I'm shaking my hand. You can't really see it. It's right there on the edge of what I would like to see. Like, it's almost overdone, is what I'm saying. And that's the thing that I don't want the game to get into. I don't want to end up getting. It's bad enough that they implemented horns. Let's just put it that way. Horns is literally one of the worst decisions Wargaming has put into this game. You don't need horns for anything. They put in horns specifically for the ridiculously idiotic teammates that just sit there and spam it all the time because they cried on Twitter all the time. Please, I want horns, I want horns, I want horns. Screw the horns. All the horns are is just an annoyance. Prove me wrong. Now, for everybody that was mad at me during the Bismarck game, you're welcome. Every once in a while, I go for you guys. You guys know this. I like picking on the Bismarck crowd. If you haven't noticed by now, it is something that I quite enjoy. So, with that being said, it's kind of like Flambass. You ever watch Flambass and hear him talk about is it the Montana that he really hates? I think it is. It's an American battleship. Everybody loves it because it's a fantastic ship, okay? He really likes to piss everybody off by talking about how much he hates the Montana and that he refuses to play it. And so that's the Bismarck for me, except for I truly do hate the Bismarck. And maybe Flambass truly does hate the Montana. Maybe it's just not his ship. But I find it, you know, it's one of those, and people say the same thing about the Iowa. People say, I don't understand what you see in the Iowa. It's garbage. I'm like, are you kidding me? I love that thing. I would take the Iowa over literally any ship in the game. It's just so consistent. And that's what I like about ships. I like consistency. That's why me and the German battleships don't get along. They're not very consistent. But anyway, I digress. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was a fun match. Wasn't the highest damage in the world, but 81,000 damage by nothing but shooting in a destroyer. Not a bad game. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.